Gentlemen, it looks like we're online here. Let me go ahead and check to make sure, because we were having technical difficulties earlier. So let me check and see what's going on right now. Are we online on Facebook? YouTube, I see you're ready. Facebook, you're ready to go. Fantastic. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? How are you guys doing today? I hope you're doing well. Welcome to the Beta Project here today. Today's title is You Must. You must. And today's quote is going to be, actually, did I change the date? Yeah, I did. Okay, so today is August 5th. And so today's quote is, happiness doesn't depend on any external conditions. It is governed by our mental attitude. It's not depending on any external conditions. It's governed by our mental attitude. Nothing external creates our happiness except for you inside. Ladies and gentlemen, this is important here. I hope you're catching all this, because what I'm giving you here is I'm giving you nuggets of awesomeness. Happiness doesn't depend on any external conditions. It is governed by our mental state. Mental is internal. Everything that's mental is inside of you. You're mentally strong. That means your mind is strong. It's all in you, not externally, right? So your happiness is internal, not external. Pretty easy, right? So why is today's video called You Must? Okay, so let me go ahead and bring me on. What's going on? How are you guys doing? Hey. All right, so I want you guys to think back to a time when you were younger. If you had siblings, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. This particular picture right here. And what this picture demonstrates is like this child is like pointing out, I guess he's pointing out his brother. He's like, hey, Ma, like, I know you caught me, but he did it first, or, you know, he didn't clean his room, but he didn't eat his vegetables, or whatever particular situation this child is pointing out, he is pointing it out to hey, Ma, right there. Hey, that kid right there, he did it. And so, ladies and gentlemen, the reason I'm bringing this up is because this is a pretty powerful statement, because what we have going on in our lives is exactly like this picture. Now, the problem is that we aren't necessarily telling on someone, but we are pointing the finger at somebody else saying, hey, this person did it. Therefore, you know, this is why I didn't get done. Hey, DeMarcus, why didn't you do your homework today? Oh, man, I was busy at work, or my boss wouldn't let me, or my car broke down. We're always pointing the finger at somebody. Now, once again, I've told you that reasons that are in your mind are only excuses to others. So whenever it comes out of your mouth, it's an excuse. In your brain, it's a reason. In your mental here, in your mind, it is good, right? It's the reason. It makes sense. It makes sense to you. You've justified it. But when it comes out of your mouth, they don't have the same justification for that reason that you do, and it becomes your excuse. Why didn't you show up? Well, that was a good reason for you, but maybe it's not qualified to be a good reason for your work. But we point our fingers often at others when it comes to success, when it comes to doing what we're supposed to do. When things don't go our way, we're immediately looking externally. But guess what? Happiness doesn't depend on any external conditions. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm trying to get you to realize here in this particular video is that we've got to stop looking externally for our validation to move forward, to grow, to be great. We got to stop looking for they approval. And what I mean they approval is they could be your husband, your wife, your spouse. It could be your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your kids. It could be your mom, your dad, your cousin, your boss, random strangers you don't know who are judging you or you think are judging you. All these people in the they category. We got to stop letting they dictate what we do, what we must do with our lives. So I'm going to read you exactly what I wrote in my book. The reason for, my little, video idea list here. So I'm going to read you exactly what it says. Say, you can't care if they do. You can't care if they don't. You must. If they don't show up, you must keep going. If they don't agree, you must keep going. It's all about your gift and what you're supposed to bring to the world. Don't let outside forces determine your internal happiness. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to think about this. And I put this other one up here for us really quick here. And this is a list of the most common verbs. Now, why did I put this up here? I was going to have a list I was going to read off of, but I thought I'd do it this way instead. So that way you can see the verbs too. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I need you to think about is that just because they don't accept you doesn't mean that you don't show up. You must show up. Just because they don't care, you see what I'm doing here? Doesn't mean you must stop. Just because they couldn't, or just because they could, or just because they enjoy, or just because they can't enjoy, or just because they learn, or just because they open, or they own, or they remove, or they remember, or they face, or they express, or they identify, or they imagine, or they destroy, or they describe, or they concoct, or they complain, or they compete, or they discover, or they forgive, or they involve, or they push, or they save, or they return, or they speak, or they sound, or they sleep, or they try, or they throw, or they touch, or they travel, or they treat, or they turn, or they understand, or use, or they visit, or they wait, or they walk, or they watch, or they win, or they wonder, or they write. It doesn't matter what they do. What matters is what you do. And you've got to stop letting people utilize their verbs to stop your actions. We've got to stop letting those people who got verbs in our minds, the people who we love so much, or we think about so much, or we care what they think, that there's so much inside of our noggin that they stop us from our progress because they didn't show up. We're upset about it, and so now we're having a bad day and we're thrown off and we don't succeed. Or just because they do show up and your day is thrown off, we don't succeed. Or they don't listen, or they do listen, or they are there, or they do know, or they don't know, or they don't treat you the way you want to be treated, or they don't treat you the way you believe you should be treated. You can't allow for that to stop the progress that's designed to be yours. You must. Let me say that with this going. Here, hold on. You must. At all times, you must. Because guess what? When they talk about success, they talk about your success, right? And even if you're in a group, you have success in that group. But you must do your part at all times for the success to happen. We got to stop allowing other people who are not within us or us to deny our happiness. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, happiness does not depend on any external conditions. It is governed by our mental state, which means that external conditions is the way they feel or they treat us, or all those verbs that came up on the screen. Let me bring it back here for you. All those verbs right there. When they is attached to those, then that means that you are allowing them to give an excuse of why you are not winning. They didn't do what you wanted them to do, so you're failing? Come on, people. It's not their win. It's your win. And so if you're not willing to step up and take your win and have a stronger mental attitude than those people who are not treating you the way you feel like you should be treated, you need to go ahead and step away and win anyway. And so here's the last thing I want to say, ladies and gentlemen, because like I said, this is a good one. I didn't realize it was going to be this long, but it turned out to be a good one. So here's the last one I want to bring to your attention about external forces and the they. If an egg is broken on the outside, life ends. If an egg is broken by an inside force, then life begins. Great things happen from inside. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me go ahead and preach a little bit on this, because here's the deal. What's inside the egg must stay in there until it's ready. But when it's ready, it has no choice but to get out of the egg on its own. But see, if it is broken, life ends. Life ends like it says, right? The egg is what's inside the egg is not sitting there waiting there like, oh man, I hope somebody breaks me out. I'm just going to wait here. No, it's about the action that must be taken when it is ready and when it is time. Now, if it decided to let outside forces dictate when it came out or when it didn't come out, if it came out too early based on the outside forces, life ends. If it came out too late, your life possibly could end. It must come out just right. But guess what? Outside forces don't know when it is the right time. What's inside of you, what's inside of that egg knows when it's time to come out. And you don't even, and see, if you pay attention, you watch even eggs being born, like hatching, the mother hen, the mother chick, the mother eagle, the mother snake, the mother reptile, all these different things that get born by eggs. They don't break the shell for the creature inside. Now, they'll help it a little bit along, possibly after it does what it needs to do to get out of it, but it doesn't break the shell for it. Why? Because they know as soon as they break that shell, that outside force, it ends. So, ladies and gentlemen, what are you allowing to control you to the point where your happiness is gone? Did I have one more thing about turmoil? Nope, turmoil is a different video. Okay, so I'm going to say this about turmoil, and I got a different video on this, but ladies and gentlemen, a lot of us are holding on to things that are allowing turmoil to be in our lives, things that we love, things that we care about, things that we believe in, things that we hope for. Remember that expectations video? It's another video we haven't gone into, but we're allowing these different things to kind of keep going in our lives. Now, that's all well and good, but to the point where, ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to hold on to the rope and it continuously burns you because it's dragging itself along, eventually you need to let go and start letting it heal. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not for us to dictate how somebody else treats us. It's not for us to dictate how somebody else responds to us, how somebody else acts around us, how somebody else respects us or disrespects us. What it is, our responsibility is to make sure that we understand that we are worth it, keep our minds strong, and we treat ourselves with the respect that we deserve. Because as you treat yourself with the respect that you deserve, and you let go of people who are not willing to do so, what happens is something amazing. You start attracting people who see the value that you see in yourself. The people who understand that they're not going to break your egg. They've already broken their own egg, and they're just waiting for you to come out the party. That's all. So don't be this kid right here, ladies and gentlemen, who's up here pointing at his brother saying, well, he didn't let me do it. Well, my wife didn't let me. My husband didn't let me. My kids were too big. Don't be the person pointing. You must continue. You must win. Now, here's the cool thing about it, and I'll get off of here. The cool thing about this, ladies and gentlemen, is that when you win, you give the ability for somebody else to get something from your win. See, most people think that the win is about you, but the win is about more than you. Just like whenever somebody goes, the Olympics, when somebody goes on the gold pedestal, the #1 pedestal, and they have the gold medal in their hands, and they're sitting there, it's a country win. Even though that individual won their sport and they're feeling really good about it, they won for the country. So what is it that you must create, that you must do, that you must be, that you must succeed in, that will create something that will change the way the masses and the world and the nations operate to this day? That's what I want you to think about, ladies and gentlemen. You must win. You must be successful. You must step forward. You cannot worry about if they don't like what you do. You cannot worry about that they're mad at you. You cannot worry about they're not treating you right. You're not worried about they show up. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to step forward. That's success in this world. You want to create success in this world, in a marriage, in a relationship, in your finances, and let's see, hold on. It's finances. Oh, there's 3 of them. Finances, job, and there's something else. Anyways, but if you want to create success in any of those areas, first thing you must do is you must step forward, step up, and win by yourself. It's okay if you got people winning with you, but the birds that flock together, they don't fly for each other. They fly with each other. So it's okay to have people flying with you, but they can't